Welcome to Writing a Screenplay. This is going to be a short one, which after that last one that was like an hour, this is what we need. But this is an important one because I think I finally have all the segments. We finally did it. So let's look at the last segment that I've inserted into the outline. Can you see it? Can you spot it? It's right here in Act 2. It's how we're going to end Act 2, the graveyard shift. Now, I talked about um, a segment about a gas station clerk, and I never did anything with it. I did this, I did that, I did the other, I boom, boom, boom. Never really got to the gas station the clerk idea until recently. I had one segment left, and I looked at the options that I had up here, segment ideas. I said, this still might come to fruition at some point, but we do get the Melanie callback, so I'm okay with it, and we don't have to answer everything. How Melanie gets into that cabin, um, we don't need to answer that. We can put it together. So let's look at the graveyard shift that ends Act 2. Now we're going to see how it leads into it because all of these are sort of transitioning into the next one. So I think it's Heartache, which as we know, it does. Yeah, as we know, Heartache at the end, she drives away and he dies right there. His vision goes black. We hold on to that darkness and fade in on the moon overhead. Now, we won't use that specific language in the screenplay, and we'll get into why. Because you're not supposed to put in the editing transitions in your script, which is fine. It's a decent rule. But for my notes, I can definitely put that there. So, yeah, we transition to night here, and we get to the we get to the graveyard shift. It's got to be on the same page. It's got to be on the same page. 10 to 12 pages, and I think it's fully fledged out. My phone is going crazy over there. I'm gonna have to throw it. Get out of there! Stop buzzing on my table. So I'm gonna read it for the graveyard shift, and I think you might like it. It's a solid, spooky little segment. Brian is a black 22-year-old gas station clerk working the midnight shift. It is important that he's black. He's a college kid who doesn't totally hate the shift because he can study while getting paid, and we'll handle that with dialogue and showing the books, and we'll handle it. Brian deals with a variety of customers, including drunks, druggies, stoners, truckers, ambulance drivers, cops. Things some of these people come in and buy are very weird. So that's more of a log line of the segment in general, because he's working that 12 to 7, that 12 to 8 a.m. shift. So he's there 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Just the weirdos. Some people just work that shift as well, so they'll be getting coffee and stuff. But there's a bunch of weirdos, and that's what we're gonna have fun with, especially the isolation, the loneliness. A mysterious black old car with tinted windows pulls up to a pump and just sits there. This happens early with multiple returns to this subplot. An old man comes in, buys some scratch off, apparently. Scratch offs. Does them there. Might be where we handle some of that exposition of his schooling and stuff like that. And he goes in the back towards the coolers to get something. You got Powerade? I don't know. We'll handle it. He goes back to the coolers and is never seen again. I like that. So we're going to establish, like, this is definitely going to be very surreal. This is going to have that Twin Peaks vibe, which is great because I don't think we have that yet. We've got a ghost story, we've got some serial killer, we've got some sort of fantasy things, like with Heartache. Like, that's not how the real world works. But this is just going to be almost otherworldly, very, very foggy, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we'll have fog, but you know, we might. Fog's fun. Um, so yeah, Brian goes back to check on him, and he's just not there. A stoner comes in and stands in the chip aisle forever. Back at the counter, Brian looks out that window and sees the black old car still at that pump. Still at that pump, that weird old car. A truck pulls up and a strange man comes in, buys rope, condoms, maybe, and lube. This, of course, makes Brian very uneasy. He tells the cop, who comes in right after. So it's almost like they cross paths, or, he goes back to his truck as the cop's pulling up. So they're there at the same time. And he tells the cop who comes in right after. And this cop can be the same cop that we can use in the Ambrose haunted house ending when he gets taken away by the police. Why not this guy? That's fun. And we can have him be. We'll get into it. And the cop goes to question him outside the pump. He says that guy just bought rope, and it's very suspect. The cop's like, yeah, Jesus, all right, I'll go deal with it. And he goes out to the pump. And before he does, Brian asks to check on the old black car with tinted windows as well. It's like, as long as you're doing that, can you? This guy's been there for a while at pump 4. Can you do something about that? And they look out the window, and of course, there is no black car. Brian watches through the glass as the cop does his check on the rope man and comes back inside and says that there was no rope or lube, just a 6 pack of Bud Lime, Bud Light Lime, Bud Lime. And Brian does not remember even selling the guy beer. That is not what we see as the audience, you know. And he'll even have the receipt, you know. It's like he's even got a receipt. He showed me the receipt. I saw it. Today's date. Boom, boom, boom. 2:22 a.m. Whatever this is, so we can establish time too. Um, so yeah, Bud Light Lime. Things are getting weird. The cop bullies Brian a bit, accuses him of drug use, even checking his pockets, treating him as the criminal. Now we're getting a little to some social commentary stuff. Things get a little racist and inappropriate here, and the cop, who he thought was on his side, is revealed to be not such a great public servant after all. Bryant warns him that there's cameras in the stores and there's a witness, the stoner. But the cop says he could deal with the cameras, and what stoner the stoner is gone. Um, am I going to the well a little too much on that? No, I don't think so because of the payoff that we'll see here with the car. The cop bullies Brian a bit even more, but eventually leaves when he learns Brian's mother is a journalist, Twitter follower. I don't know. I just needed this cop to go. I wanted the cop to bully Brian, you know, but at the end of the day, I do need that cop to also leave so I can continue my story. We might find a better reason. We might not. I mean, what would get a cop to leave? If he's not afraid of the cameras and he's not afraid of witnesses, it's one of those things. It's like, well, what is he afraid of? So, and I thought that was a decent, if not temporary, answer to that question. Brian investigates the store, looking for that old man in the store. Where is anyone? He's getting paranoid. Of course, no sign of anyone. When he gets back to the counter, he looks out and sees the old black car is back at the pump. Son of a gun. Brian looks away and back. Still there, Goes to his book, his textbook, and he's got to look back. Of course, it's still there. Damn son of a gun. And he does it again, and he looks back. And this time when he looks back, there's a wild-haired ghoul of a man with a crazed smile at the pump staring back at Brian. It scares Brian so much, he trips and falls back. When he gets up and looks out the window, the man is gone, of course. But with the twist, hang on. There's no one out there but the car. Yet the intercom at his counter buzzes. See, I did a little gas station research because they have the intercoms. It's like, hey, I'm having trouble here. I'm in pump 4. Can you? And like they can see. So I looked into a couple things. But his intercom goes off, and he sees it's from the call box at pump 4, the one the car is at. He looks out, but nobody's standing there yet. It's buzzing. Then he hears a voice from the intercom. The voice of the man, a gravelly, unhinged voice. There's a problem with the pump. Can you come outside and check it, please? It won't be that voice. We'll get an actor. There's a problem with the pump. Can you come outside and check it, please? There we go. That was better. I can play this role. I'm a ghoul. Brian takes a while. Just takes it all in and responds, telling the man, just go to a different pump. Pump 5's open. Go to pump 5. Please come outside. Please. The man is doing everything he can to get Brian to leave the station, but the young man's not having any of it. The maniac is then seen in the store down one of the aisles. That's going to be a very scary moment. He crosses right to left, and Brian, something. All right. Um, and the reason he's going right to left, that was just for me, and I'll probably have it in the script that way, but generally, protagonists go left to right, antagonists, villains go right to left, and the reason for that is language. And this visual language. We read left to right. Everything. our brains and our mind, everything, it's right, it's just correct. It's appropriate left to right. That's how it should be. So when we see right to left, it's like, it's our brains kind of don't like it. So it's just a little psychological tip that people have been using for years. It's one of my favorite tools in my storytelling toolbox. If you're a bad guy and there's a situation for it, you're moving right to left. Or yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Brian goes to call the cops, but the power is disabled. A cat and mouse game takes place in the store, in the back storage room, in the cooler. Brian goes to the back and outside to fix the power. Suspenseful stuff here. He gets the power going, goes back inside, and it ends with the maniac revealing himself, trying to stab Brian to death, but Brian counters the attack and stabs the man to death. When he goes to call the cops, he sees the body. It's gone. And of course, and there is no blood. Brian, shell shocked, stands at his counter as the sun rises. He mindlessly deals with a few morning customers as his relief comes in. His coworker comes in to take over that 8 a.m. shift. All right, Brian, have a good day. Yeah, okay, yeah. And that's the graveyard shift. And we can transition right into the hidden light there without much issue. So yeah, that's the graveyard shift. A little spooky, isolated story about some weird stuff that happens at this gas station. I think it's good. I think I can definitely get 10 to 12 pages out of it, and we can have some callbacks. Like I said, that cop can be in the Ambrose Haunted House one, which I think I'm calling Home Sweet Home now. That's gone through a couple of name changes. Home Sweet Home's not even still the greatest, but it's better than the Forever Home and Skeletons in the Closet. But we can have that cop in this one. That'll be fun. Um, there might be other opportunities to do crossover stuff with the graveyard shift. Maybe Brian shows up at the Good Boys. There's we'll play with it. We'll see. Having said that, I think we're done. I think we're done. So yeah, I definitely like to make sure I have appropriate notes and outlining. This pre-writing. This is very key. This is where it's all done. That's why there's been 13 damn videos on it so far here. Um, but at some point you do have to move on. Because you can live here. You can get bogged down, and I've seen writers do that where they're just like, oh, I'm still working on the character stuff, and I'm still no, it's almost there. It's just like you at some point you do have to go, and I think we're reaching that because we started this in September and it's now mid-November, so we still have visual outlining to do back there. I took down the note cards that were already on the corkboard, so I'm ready for that. So I think that's probably going to be next, and then we're going to dive right in, and we're going to write this screenplay, Suburban Shadows, and I like where we're at. I like where we're at. Any thoughts, comments, opinions? Please leave them below. Otherwise, I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching.